extremely hard to be in his moment. But job is not done.
It's now or never, and I never even a minute late.
Look out, here comes Trae. He shoots the three. Bang! They left him wide open.
Now or never, the clock is ticking. My ambitions will outlast the pressure.
The floater to Giannis, slammed it. Rebound line, Clint Capella up and in. These Atlanta Hawks folks, never ever count them out.
It's been fun playing with this group. We just keep fighting to the end, no matter what the score is.
Good day. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into First Take on this Friday Eve. Max Kellerman, top of the morning to you, sir. Good to see you. Hey, Stephen A. How we feeling? Good to see you as well. Yeah, but we know when the light comes on, you are always on, sir. I did see you late last night and again this morning, so I feel you. Let's get into it, guys.
Stephen A. Lots of coffee. You need some caffeine.
All I have to say is Trae Young, Max. He doesn't need any caffeine. My God, 48.7 rebounds, 11 assists, pulling off the upset on the road. He's young, but he's ready.
We got weapons too. I believe in this team too. I mean, they got some good pieces over there. Got a lot of really talented people, but we do too. And like I said, I believe in this team, and we knew we could get a stop if we just buckled down and got it.
You got to make it as tough as possible for him and make him play a lot of one-on-one. But at the end of the day, he had 48 points, right? 48 points. He's a great player. He has the ball a lot in his hands, but we just got to make it as tough as possible.
Joining some incredible company, Young tied LeBron James for the most points by a player at age 22 or younger in a conference or division finals game. LeBron had 48 against the Pistons. That was game 5 of the 07 conference finals. But there's another champion he reminds us of, and that is Steph Curry. Max, would you say Trae Young's ceiling is actually higher than Steph's?
Yeah, in the playoffs, which is the only thing I care about. I don't care. See what Stephen A is doing right now? That's how I feel about the regular season. You know what the truth is? So does the league. Or they wouldn't have 2/3 of the team, 15 teams in each conference, 10 of them are still playing when the regular season's over. So, the real season starts in the playoffs. What happens then? You know what happens then? Now, how many Western Conference Finals? Steph Curry, what is he, 32, 33 now? How many Western Conference Finals he's played in? 5. You know how many Western Conference Finals games he's played in? 27, by my count. How many times he scored 48 points in a conference final? 0. How many conference finals games Trae Young has played in? As soon as he gets there, the first time he gets there, game 1, does something Steph's never done in his entire career, because he's fearless under pressure. Steph is careless under pressure. Steph shimmies in the regular season. Trae shimmies in the playoffs, Stephen A. And I'm going to need a disclaimer for Steph fans pretty soon, like you have for LeBron. He's a great person, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm a huge Steph fan. But our job is to tell it like it is. And Steph, this year, got sent packing this year, playing in a play-in game, because he's playing out of his mind the whole time. And then in overtime, 0 points in the last 3:30. He goes home. Like in 2016, greatest offense ever. Game on the line, last 4:22 at home to be the greatest team ever, 73 wins. 0 points in the last 4:22 for the whole team, including Steph. But there was a careless turnover. Trae is Steph Curry, but in the playoffs, he elevates. The answer is yes, the ceiling is higher in the playoffs when it counts.
On a debate show, we disagree, but I'll openly admit, you do have this knack for just annoying the living hell out of me, to the point where, I'm really going to have a problem. I'm really going to have a conversation with the bosses about, I think I need to be paid more for having to talk basketball with you. I really do. So Trae Young shows up in his first year in the playoffs, and because he has obviously looking like a superstar and playing out of his mind, he has this one series, and then we just ignore a 3-time champion in Steph Curry, who's been to 5 NBA Finals. And by the way, I've got some numbers because I know that is near and dear to your heart. Trae Young shooting 34% from three-point range. Steph Curry, a career 43% shooter from three-point range. Steph Curry shooting a career 47-48% from the field. Trae Young at 43. But, obviously Trae Young has the capabilities to have a tremendous upside, but he's not the shooter that Steph Curry is. We all know that. And the same Steph Curry that you talk about was once a candidate when Kevin Durant got NBA Finals MVP one of those times. A lot of people thought it was going to be Steph. You act like Steph chokes in the postseason, for crying out loud, which is completely false, untrue, and just an uneducated basketball synopsis. But I'm just looking at, Steph Curry in all of his years of playing playoff basketball. And I'm looking at career numbers of 26.5 points, 6 assists, 45% shooting, 40 from three-point range. You look at him in the Western Conference, about 6 Western Conference series, 25, was shooting 43% from three-point range, 46% from the field. It's like, what are you talking about? And I'm looking at Trae Young. Trae Young has been spectacular. There is no question about that. But I was covering Game 7 against Philadelphia when he made that big-time shot. He also was shooting 4 of 22 prior to hitting that big-time shot. Last night, he was absolutely sensational, particularly in the first 3 quarters. But he did shoot 4 of 13 from three-point range. And I think it was 1 of 7 from the field in the fourth quarter, or if I remember correctly. All I'm trying to say is that not to take anything away from Trae Young, because he is sensational. And a comparison between him and Luka is an entirely different argument altogether. And that's something that we can get into later on in the show. But to sit up there and say a ceiling higher than Steph Curry.
But it's okay to compare him to Luka, right?
No. Excuse me?
It's okay to compare him to Luka,
the reason
right?
why I'm saying that is because they're both young. They both came in the league at the same time. And on top of it all, they were traded for one another.
I got it. Luka has a higher ceiling, potentially. It doesn't mean he'll do it, but he has a higher ceiling than Steph.
I didn't ask you to answer any questions about Luka because we're going to get into that later in the show. We're going to do that.
Yeah,
we don't
you
need to get into that now.
You can't on the one hand say, no, he doesn't have a higher ceiling than Steph, but you can compare him to Luka because Luka has a higher ceiling than Steph. Doesn't mean he'll get there, but he has a higher ceiling. Look, this is the bottom line. You brought up finals. Steph has played in 5 finals. He's won 0 finals MVPs. 0. The first time when they won it, and by the way, I'll tell you something else. He's never really won a finals as the best player on his team. The only time he did it was 2015, which should have an asterisk because both Kyrie and Kevin Love got hurt, and it still went 6 games.
Pause for 1 second. You just said he never had that, but then you said the only time.
Yeah, I said it should come with an asterisk. In other words,
he was the best player on his team the first championship.
That they would never have won had the other team not been missing.
Was he the best player on that team?
Was he
the best player on his team?
Would the Bucks have beaten the Nets if they had Kyrie and James
Was he the best player on his team?
Yeah, he was that year. He was that year.
That's all I asked.
Now let me ask you something else. Who won Finals MVP? The point was, it was so obvious that LeBron was twice as good as he was that they had to give the MVP not to him because he didn't play well enough, but to the guy who guarded LeBron. They gave it to Iguodala. The next year, LeBron beat him. Steph was the best player on the team. Next year, he had KD. Right?
The next year he was injured.
Now chest out, he has KD, and he plays better in the finals. Who wins finals MVP? Both times KD. By the way, in 2016, had LeBron not won it, Draymond was about to win it. Still not Steph. And then finally, he doesn't have KD again because KD gets hurt. They lose again. And once again, no finals MVP. That's 5 times in the finals, 0 finals MVPs. Steph is a great player. Are we going to pretend that when it matters most, he's a lesser version of himself? Stephen A, he's a little careless with the ball when it matters most. His shot goes away a little bit when it matters most. The best Steph I've ever seen in the finals was against Toronto. He won a game by hitting some threes late, 1 or 2 times where he really came through. In my memory of him playing in the finals, that's all I can recall where it's like, wow, Steph really elevated in that situation. Trae has a chance to be the kind of player who actually gets better when it matters most.
Well, I sincerely hope that, your soliloquies, your diatribes, and all of that other stuff contributes to ratings, because you're going to be doing most of the talking today because, number one, I'm tired. I'm really not interested in talking to you about basketball because your opinions absolutely, utterly annoy me because they make no sense whatsoever. When you talk about Steph Curry, we talk about the first year he was a baby in this league. He was still the best player on his team. Also, who he plays with does matter because when you have an elite marksman, like Klay Thompson, you also share the basketball as well. We can't ignore that, okay? The second go-round, you know that he wasn't 100%. We've talked about that even. You admitted that the year that LeBron beat them because they pushed it to the limit trying to get those 73 wins. He wasn't completely healthy.
Give me the excuses for the next 3 now because they're 5.
Did I not shut the hell up when you were talking?
Nah.
I thought I did. I stepped back, fall back.
Okay,
the point
taken.
is, Steph Curry, the second go-round, he wasn't 100%. When KD got there, one of those 2 years, it was a legitimate argument as to whether or not Steph was going to be the MVP compared to KD. First go round, KD averaging 35 on better than 50% shooting, going up against LeBron for the first time fully loaded. Obviously, this dude was ready, and everybody knew that KD was going to get that. Second go round, that wasn't necessarily the case. When you talk about Andre Iguodala winning that first MVP, he showed up and he was a big time. He was hitting wide open shots because Klay and Steph were being keyed on and give him a lot of credit. But it was primarily because of his defense as well, which was the same reason why Kawhi Leonard got the MVP going up against LeBron when he was with San Antonio. We have watched Steph Curry put on absolute shows in the postseason. There have been times when he's been a lesser version than himself, just like has been the case with Trae Young. And then there have been other times when he's been every bit what we've expected. Then he comes into this season without Klay Thompson at age 32, 33 years of age, with people looking at him and saying, okay, what you gonna do? Because there is no Klay Thompson. Obviously, y'all are here, but y'all are not the same team. And this brother wins the scoring championship and is a top 3 league MVP candidate. Put it on an absolute show. And now we're gonna sit up here and talk about Trae Young in his first playoff appearance, and we're gonna say his ceiling is higher than that of Klay Thompson.
Steph's ceiling is lower than it should be.
Curry?
When it matters most. And Trae just did something Steph's never done in his whole career.
So Steph
the
ain't
first
done
time he
nothing in
showed
the
up in the
postseason.
Western Conference Finals.
What's going to make a shot?
Now, I want to go over what you said very quickly right now.
Okay,
First, let's go over every finals Steph was in. This is the only thing I'm asking. Who's the best player? It's rhetorical. He was the best player in the series. 2015, the answer was clearly LeBron. 2016, Steph was not the second best player in the series. It was LeBron and then Draymond. Then the next time he's in the finals, it's LeBron and then KD. He's not the second best player. Then the next, Draymond was going to win MVP in 2016 and they won.
Timeout. Because of his performance in Game 7.
But no, he's going to get Finals MVP.
No, I know that because of his performance in Game 7.
So far, Steph has not been the best player in the series ever in the Finals, and it's usually not the second best player. The second time he plays with KD, when KD gets MVP, KD and LeBron are the best 2 players, and then Steph. Not the second best player. And then finally, the last time, Kawhi was the best player. Dude, you got to be the best player in the finals one time. You've been there 5 times. How about the second best more than a couple times?
Not if the conversation evolves around whether or not Trae Young's ceiling is higher than Steph Curry.
Okay.
This conversation, he's going to have to be the best player.
Keep the conversation moving.
Who's the best player.
I'll wrap it up by saying this, and Max Kellerman, I want to quote you properly. Trae is fearless.